Well, hey, everybody, Mr. Reeves back with you. And today we're looking at some skills in IXL. Once again, we are in 7th grade math, and we are looking at, wow, it's way down at the bottom, expressions. And we're going to be looking at some properties later. But today we're focusing on these 4 skills that are highlighted right up here. Skills are 1, 2, 3, and 8. But we're actually going to start with R8. All right, so R8 right here, identify terms and coefficients. So hopefully you had a chance to go through the Khan Academy material, which means I shouldn't need to spend too much time. All right, an expression, an algebraic expression, is made up of terms, and each one of those terms can be a constant, like 5, a variable like k, or the product of a constant and a variable like 7m. And each one of those terms is separated by addition or by subtraction. All right, although when it's separated by subtraction, we usually say that it's added to a negative instead, making the coefficient negative. I don't think we're going to have to deal with that for today because we're not going that in depth. So how many terms are in this expression? There are 1, 2, 3 terms. All right, how many terms in this expression? There are simply 2. Again, we're simply looking at the on either side of the addition here, right? 3x is one term, 5y is another term. They are separated by addition. There are 2 terms. All right, how many terms in this expression? Again, 2. 1 is one term, m is the other term. I don't know how they're going to make this too much more difficult. How many terms here? 1, 2, 3. So this is the first time we've seen subtraction between terms, but there are still just 3 terms there. All right. Coefficient of the second term. Now we're getting somewhere. Now it's getting interesting. All right, so my first term is 10b to the second power, and my coefficient is 10. My third term is 8c to the third power, and my coefficient is 8. My second term is 7b, and so my coefficient is 7. Remember, coefficient is the number in front of the variable when they are multiplied. All right, the coefficient of the first term here is going to be 1. 1y. There's no number written, but it is the number 1. All right, how many terms in this expression? There are 2. Again, the first term would be -1, and the second term would be n squared, or many times we would say -1 n squared is the term. All right, can we skip to the next level? How many terms? 3. This is not getting very interesting, is it? How about the challenge zone? Now, hey, this looks a little more fun. Which of the following are terms in the expression? All right, so the first term is 9c to the third. That's not there. The second term is b squared d. B squared d. That one's not there. All right, this one, negative b squared d to the third. All right, and then negative 4b. Wow, this is the only one that's a term. All right, some of these are parts of the terms, but that's the only one that actually is a term. All right, let's see if they give us more this time. Which of the following are terms? Well, 8 is not down here. K cubed, n cubed, that is not down there. -9 is. All right, now if you're wondering, well, why aren't n cubed and k cubed terms? It's because, remember, the term is the product. So that together, that whole thing is the term. All right, those are parts of the term, but they are not actual terms themselves. All right, what is the coefficient of the first term? That would be 8. And what is the coefficient of the third term? That would be 9. All righty, I'm going to go ahead and stop there. That is R8, identify terms and coefficients. Now let's go back to R1. Okay, now R1, we're going to be doing some translating. So again, I want to refer you back to Khan Academy and also the table that I gave you that had all the vocabulary words. All right, sometimes they're going to be easier, sometimes they're going to be more challenging depending on the word they use. Well, they use the word subtract. Notice it says subtract z from 9. When you are doing subtraction, order matters. So it's not z minus 9, it is 9 minus z. We are subtracting z from 9. 9 minus z. All right, multiply 7 by v. We simply have to put 7v. All right, 7 times v. We don't even need a multiplication sign because 7 is the coefficient and a number next to a variable means to multiply. All right, multiply r by 5. Now, if I put 5r, we're good. I do not need any kind of sign. If I'm going to put the r first, then I have to put something for multiplication. All right? So, my recommendation is if you want to multiply r by 5, simply put 5r. Put the number, which is the coefficient, first. Okay? 10 decreased by s. All right, if you weren't sure what decreased by means, it means to subtract. 10 decreased by s means 10 minus s. All right, let's go ahead and jump up and see what we have. The sum of p and 6 again. Sum is one of those words you should know. Sum, quotient, difference, product. For our four main operations, sum means to add. P plus 6. All right. R minus 4. Well, gee, I wonder what that is. How about R minus 4? Okay, I'm going to go ahead now and skip to our next skill, which is going to be R2, where we're continuing, except now we have more than one operation. Okay. It says subtract m from 10, then add 5 to the result. So m minus 10, all right, would not be correct, right? It would be 10 minus m, and then it says add 5 to the result. Now, you do have to know about order of operations. So if we were going to use the correct order of operations, would we get what we want to? Well, order of operations, addition and subtraction comes last, from left to right. So according to this, I would do 10 minus m and then add 5. Now, just so you know, when you see a comma in words, you could think of it often as parentheses. So if I did 10 minus m with parentheses and then added 5, do you see that comma right there? It's kind of like I'm putting a comma. It's not kind of like, it actually is. That comma tells me to group this part first. So in this case, with parentheses or without parentheses would both be okay. I'm going to put parentheses just to be safe. Multiply 9 by 3 and then subtract m from the result. Now again, if I go 9 times 3 and then I go minus m, order of operations would say to multiply first and then subtract m. If I want to, seeing that the parentheses, decide that I want to put parentheses 9 times 3 parentheses minus m, that is also correct. So the parentheses are kind of overkill, but you know, better safe than sorry. Okay, let's see here. Raise d to the 4th power and then divide c by the result. So I'm going to have to do this here. I'm going to do d to the 4th power, and then I'm going to divide c by the result. Wow. Well, wait a second. Divide c by the result. If you read that carefully, c is going to go on the top. I'm going to take this out here. All right, and I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to do this again. D, whoops, not 2, Mr. Eves. D to the 4th power. So do you see that? It says raise d to the 4th power, then divide c by the result. It doesn't say divide the result by c. It says divide c by the result. Order matters in subtraction and order matters in division. Okay? There we go. So got to be careful. Got to be careful. Raise 6 to the 10th power, then multiply the result by z. So I'm going to raise 6 to the 10th power, and then I'm going to multiply that by z. Now in this case, I don't need to put a multiplication symbol, and I certainly don't need parentheses because exponents comes before multiplication, right? Again, it's not necessarily wrong to put parentheses here or to put a multiplication symbol. It's just kind of overkill. All right, so again, if you put a multiplication symbol, correct. If you put parentheses, correct. If you just wrote what I wrote, super. All right, okay, let me skip up to the next level and see what they have for us. All right, add m to 9, then triple the result. So adding m to 9 is m plus 9. Tripling would be multiplying by 3, right? But here's a case where you're going to have to put the parentheses because order of operations would say to multiply first, right? So I want to add them first, right? Then I want to get my result, and then I want to multiply by 3. Now, honestly, you could do that with just the, or you could put the 3 in front. Algebraically speaking, see how this is nice and clean? That really is the nicest answer. Add m to 9, then triple the result. That's the best way to write it right there. And they agree because they told me again, I am super. All right, raise the difference of r and s to the 2nd power. Difference means to subtract, right? So I have r minus s. And again, I'm going to put it in parentheses because that's subtraction, right? And then I'm going to raise that to the 2nd power. So do you see why I have to put parentheses? If I didn't put parentheses there, then that would just be s to the 2nd power. It'd be r minus s to the 2nd power. And exponents come before subtraction. So since they wanted us to raise the difference, I need to put r minus s in parentheses. These can be a little bit tricky. All right. R less than the difference of P and Q. All right. Well, the difference of P and Q is going to be P minus Q. And then I want R less than that. Then again, if you want to make it a little bit more clear, all right, right there is the difference. There is the difference of P and Q. And there is R less than it. Again, if I didn't put parentheses, it would be okay because it would do subtraction from left to right. But in this case, if you really want to match the words to the expression as expressed, pun intended, then you want to put parentheses. Okay, let's see what they have in the challenge zone. Oh, there is no challenge zone. I got to 90, but it didn't say challenge zone. Triple y, raise the result to the 10th power, then divide what you have by 7. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to start with a fraction, and I'm going to put divided by 7. All right, if you're going, why did you do that? Because I knew I was going to need to do this as a fraction. I'm going to triple y. Triple means times 3. So I'm going to put parentheses, and I'm going to put 3y. And why did I put parentheses? Because I knew I was going to have to raise this top part. Come on, just get the top part here. Maybe I can't get just the top part. Can I get just the top part? There we go. I knew I needed to raise that to the 10th power. Okay, triple y, there it is, right? Raised to the 10th power, there it is, then divided by 7. Okay, so it would do, because I put parentheses, it's going to do the multiplication, then the exponent, and then it's going to do the division, right? Multiplication, exponent, and then it's going to do the division. All right, last one, R3, write expressions for word problems. So this is going to be very similar to what we're doing, except we're doing it off of word problems. Luna has 64 peppermints. Brian has P fewer than Luna. All right, so he has fewer than her. Fewer is going to mean subtraction, so it's one of these. All right, if he has fewer than her, then 64, right, minus P will give what he has. If he had 5 fewer, 64 minus 5 would be 59. If he had 1 fewer, 64 minus 1 would be 63. Sometimes if you're not sure, replace the variable with a number and think, what would I do if it's a number? And then that makes it easier, right? Brenda has H hair bows. Brenda's sister has 75 more than. 75 more than tells me I'm going to add, right? Brenda's sister has 75 more than Brenda has. All right. What about this one? Julie had 49 red peppers and G green peppers. Choose the expression that shows how many peppers she has. How about 49 plus G, right? So if this were 10, again, you'd do 49 plus 10, wouldn't you? So it's G 49 plus G. All right, there are 18 chairs arranged evenly around T tables. Write an expression that shows how many chairs are at each table. All right, so think about it. There's 18 chairs and there's T tables. All right, let's just say there were 6 tables. And I said, how many are at each table? What would you do? You would do 18 divided by 6, and you would get 3, right? What about if there were 6 tables? You would do, what about if there were 3 tables? You would do 18 divided by 3, and you would get 6. So we need to do 18 divided by T. Use the slash if you want to use a division sign, okay? 18 divided by the number of tables will give us how many chairs per table. All right, they're not going to let us go up to the next level. Wendy made 8 braided bracelets. She split them evenly among G gift boxes. This is like what we just did, right? She has 8 of them divided by how many boxes will give us the number of bracelets per box. All right. Emma bought T-shirts. The shirts came in 6 packages. Write an expression that shows how many were in each package. Wow, they really are hitting this one hard. The total number of T-shirts divided by the number of packages will give you the number of T-shirts per package. All right? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I hope this was helpful. Again, if you did not already watch the Khan Academy material that I assigned for this, make sure that you do so because that laid the groundwork for what you were doing here today. Have a great lesson. Have a great lesson. Well, have a great lesson. Have a great day. Until next time. Bye.